what you eat on one meal a day will determine whether you get amazing results or none at all. And so that's why in this video, we're going to talk about what to eat, what not to eat, and the big mistakes that most of you are making when following one meal a day around food. So let's go ahead and dive in. But before we do, I'm Dr. Nick Zarowski. It's a pleasure hanging out with you in this video. When we look at one meal a day, it offers incredible benefits. I want to point out just a few to you. It's going to help you preserve muscle mass. Also, it's going to activate a cellular repair process in your body. It can help you reduce inflammation, cut fat from your body, and it also, when following one meal a day, will flip a metabolic switch and change you from being a sugar burner for energy to a fat burner for energy. And this is so important because it's not only going to help you stay lean and cut fat from your body, but it also is going to offer you so many benefits in the way of avoiding chronic disease. And this is why we love one meal a day as a tool, right? This is a tool in your toolbox in order to stay well and healthy. Now, the first big mistake that I see so many of you make around eating is a lot of you are using one meal a day for aggressive fat loss. And you're not wrong here. You're on the right path. It's an incredible tool for this. However, if you start to use it as a tool for aggressive fat loss and don't use it correctly, you'll actually crash your metabolism. Here's what I mean by that. So when doing one meal a day, it's important to make sure that you're consuming the proper amount of calories that your body needs and not undereat, okay? A big mistake is that you're not getting enough calories, and over time, combining all your meals down into one meal and also not eating the proper amount of calories can eventually start to tank your metabolism. So it's very important to make sure that you're eating the proper amount of food every day, okay? Remember, one meal a day is not a starvation technique. It's just a take all your meals and put it into one technique, right? So therefore, if you're not sure how many calories you should be eating, you should go online. There's plenty of free tools for this where you can put in your age, your size, and your activity levels throughout the day, and it'll help you determine how many calories you need throughout the day. And then this is then how you'll know how much to eat. And this is important because as you take all your meals and put it into one meal, it also can be a little bit mind warping, right? Instead of 3 meals or 4 meals or 6 meals, whatever you were doing, you're just eating one. So now you have to wrap your head around, well, how much do I need to eat when I have that one meal? So therefore, knowing the proper amount of calorie intake that you need and basically tracking your calories for 2 weeks to a month to really wrap your head around this and truly understand it will be a great tool for you to make sure that you're not negatively harming your metabolism. So that's the first thing. We have to make sure that we're eating the proper amount of calories on one meal a day. And by the way, if you like this information that I'm sharing with you today, I actually have a health community, a natural health community where I share all the different cutting edge tools and techniques that I use clinically in order to help people get well right in this community. It's called Health Club. And if you'd like to be a part of my private natural health community and stay on the razor's edge of natural health, I'll put a link in the description below for you to join. We talk about not only one meal a day, but 3-day water fast and healthy eating and so much more. So click on the link in the description below and join me in Health Club today. I look forward to seeing you there. Now, as we look at our next big mistake that you're making, it's really all centered around nutrition, okay? And this is really important. And it first starts with understanding your macros. You want to make sure that your macros are right. And macros are referring to how much protein you eat, how many fat calories you eat, and how many carbohydrate-based calories you eat throughout the day. Now, if you're somebody who is new to this and you're trying to follow a good, healthy diet, and you want to be more keto-like, which a lot of people who do one meal a day follow a keto-like type of diet, what you're going to want to do is make sure that about 40% of your calories come from protein, 50% of your calories come from fats, and about 10% come from carbohydrates, okay? But let's say that you're not someone who wants to do keto. Here's where you're going to go next with that. One of the big things that I want you to really put a huge emphasis on is making sure that you're getting the proper amount of protein, okay? This is important because first of all, if you're not getting the proper amount of protein, you're going to lose not only weight as you're doing one meal a day, but you're going to lose a lot of muscle mass. So make sure you're getting proper protein for that reason in order to maintain lean muscle mass. The next reason we want to make sure that we're getting proper protein is because if you're not getting it, you're going to have a lot of hunger issues throughout the fast. And when you don't consume enough protein, you're also going to get blood sugar instability. So you're going to get hungry throughout your fast. You're also going to find that your blood sugar crashes and you don't feel very good. So protein is key here. And one of the big questions I get on this is how much protein should I eat? Well, if you are someone who is working out and you're trying to maintain where you're at right now, you're going to want to do this equation. You're going to go 0.8 times your ideal body weight. Your ideal body weight is where your ideal weight would be. So if you're 180 pounds, but ideally you should be 160, 160 is your ideal body weight. So make sure that you're calculating your protein out and getting plenty of protein. This is a very key concept here. And after you dial in your protein, the next step is really just making sure that you're eating good quality food. So quality proteins, quality fats, and quality carbohydrates. And to be clear, the difference between a quality and not so good quality carbohydrate would be white bread versus a potato. Okay, so we want to make sure we're getting good quality carbs in. Now, the next thing I want you to really focus on as we're getting into this topic with what to eat when you're doing one meal a day is make sure that you're having balanced meals. It's very important that you're getting fruits, some greens, lots of proteins and fats, and then also enough carbs in order to at least sustain your body. And I know some people say you don't need carbs at all. Well, okay, most people are going to sleep better. Your hormones are going to be better. Everything functions in your body better if you have carbohydrates, especially if you're exercising. So, you know what, if you've done this as long as I have, this is factual. And so as people are saying, you don't need carbs, you're going to feel better if you have carbs, I promise. Now, remember, as you're doing one meal a day, you're trying to get all of your calories in one meal. You're trying to get all your nutrition, your micronutrients in one meal. So in order to get all of these good quality nutrients, we have to have good quality food. So the quality of the food matters, but the proper diversity of fruits and veggies and proteins and fats also matters a lot. So focus on getting good quality food, but also making sure you're checking the boxes to get all the proper micronutrients and you're not putting yourself in some sort of nutritional deficit as you're doing one meal a day. Very important, right? And I also like to take supplements while doing one meal a day. The ones that I focus on are taking multi, fish oil, a probiotic, and also vitamin D3. So those are going to be my go-tos. And if you want resources to that, I'll put links in the description below to what I use for that. So as you can see, I'm putting a big emphasis on my nutrition, right? Because if you're only eating one meal, your body only has one opportunity to get proper nutrition, and you got to put the effort into getting the correct foods during that time. And you know what? Don't be fooled around your food. This is something that can be a little bit mind warping, but we want to make sure that we come off of our fast. For one, we're not binge eating, okay? We want to make sure that we have our food prepped and we have the food that we're going to eat during that meal ready to go. We don't want to binge eat on whatever we see because this is problematic. This is where you're eating unhealthy foods. And the fact is that many people will turn to empty calories and processed foods and a lot of very nutritionally deficient foods in order to fill themselves up when doing one meal a day. And the fact is that, look, if you're eating these unhealthy foods, you're going to have an unhealthy body. Remember, skinny people get cancer, skinny people get diabetes, skinny people get chronic disease. So don't think that just because you're thin, all of a sudden you deserve good health. You have to make sure that you're putting the proper nutrition in order to maintain this good health. And so throughout the week, you do not want to be maybe even getting enough calories, but nutritionally starving yourself. And this is a really important concept because if we can really wrap our mind around eating correctly, we get the proper amount of proteins, we get the fats, we get the carbohydrates, we get the fruits, the greens, the veggies, and then we make sure that we're eating these really nutritionally rich foods, we're going to do very good with one meal a day. So make sure you're staying away from the sugar, the ultra processed foods, and all these different really low quality foods that are only going to harm your body. Now, the next big question is, how often should I do one meal a day? Well, I've done this for a long time, and I've also utilized this tool as a mechanism in order to get people healthy with many patients I've worked with over the years. And what I find is that doing one meal a day around 2 to 4 days a week is typically ideal. It's not necessary to do every single day. In fact, for a lot of people, it's too much. But whenever you're doing one meal a day, if you do it every single day, you can start to pattern your metabolism, and it just doesn't seem to work quite as well. So what I like to do is do one meal a day, 2 to 4 days a week, throw in some intermittent fasting, 16 and 8, and then also have at least 2 days a week where you're literally eating 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. This is helpful to make your metabolism realize we're not starving, and there is the potential for us to eat these different times. And when you create that metabolic flexibility, essentially the results are always better. So go ahead and try that method so that you don't plateau with your fasting and quit seeing results. I'm Dr. Nick Zarowski. It's been a pleasure hanging out with you in this video. If you love this one, I have a ton more videos on one meal a day, and I think you'll really like this one next.